No way back. In the Poseidon Adventure, starring Reverend Scott and Mike Rogo, at first survival actually seems possible. After the massive wave flips the Poseidon upside down, hundreds of passengers are still alive. The ship is damaged, but it hasn't sunk yet. The ballroom, where most survivors gather, remains relatively stable. Emergency lighting still works, and most importantly, help could come from the outside. The crew's advice is simple: stay where you are. Rescue teams will most likely cut through the hull from below. Waiting isn't heroic, but it's logical. The ship is upside down, which means down is now closer to the surface than ever before. But waiting feels passive, and panic hates patience. A small group, led by Reverend Scott, rejects the plan. They believe escape means moving, not waiting. Their logic is easy to understand. The ship is sinking, fires are spreading, and every second feels borrowed. Instead of trusting rescue, they decide to climb upward toward what used to be the bottom of the ship, now the highest point. Higher feels safer. Higher feels closer to freedom. That's the mistake. Because the moment they commit to moving upward, the ship begins to change. Flooding doesn't stay still. Gravity works differently inside a capsized vessel. Stairwells collapse, passageways twist, metal bends under pressure. Every step higher removes another possible way back. What started as a choice becomes a trap. As they climb, fires block exits behind them. Water seals off lower levels. Explosions rip through corridors they passed only minutes earlier. Even when they realize things are getting worse, turning around is no longer an option. This isn't a wrong turn. This is a point of no return. One by one, people die not because they were careless, but because they committed. By choosing movement over patience, they guarantee that every future mistake is fatal. Waiting might have killed them, but moving upward ensures that many of them never even get the chance to be rescued. They thought higher meant safer. It didn't. Poisoned. In Dante's Peak, starring Harry Dalton and Rachel Wando, by the time the volcano fully awakens, the town is already doomed. Ash falls from the sky. Lava flows through streets. Buildings collapse under seismic shock. Escape routes vanish one by one, but Harry and Rachel still see a way out, a lake that cuts straight through the danger zone. The surface looks calm, no boiling, no explosions, just water. So they take the boat. And this is where disaster movies punish assumptions. Volcanoes don't just destroy what you see, they poison what you don't. As magma rises beneath the earth, it releases sulfuric gases into surrounding water. The lake isn't peaceful, it's turning acidic by the second. The boat touches the water, and almost immediately the illusion collapses. The metal begins to corrode. The engine fails. The water burns their skin. Every movement becomes agony. Their bodies slow down while the danger accelerates. Now they're trapped. They can't turn back. They can't move faster. They can't escape the water without sinking. The lake becomes a corridor of pain with no exits. What makes this moment brutal isn't just the danger, it's how reasonable the decision felt. Anyone would have done the same thing. Calm water has trained us to feel safe. But in disaster scenarios, normal rules stop applying. By the time they realize the lake is killing them, they're already surrounded by it. They mistook visual calm for safety, and once they were on the lake, there was no alternative route left. Too late. In The Impossible, starring Maria and Henry Bennett, there's a moment before every catastrophe where the world still feels fixable. After the earthquake hits, the resort is damaged but standing. People are confused, not panicked. The family notices something is wrong, yet nothing looks immediately lethal. The tsunami doesn't announce itself. It doesn't escalate gradually, it arrives all at once, with the force of a collapsing ocean. In seconds, walls shatter. Furniture becomes weapons. Water slams through rooms with no direction, no mercy, and no space to breathe. Every exit disappears instantly. The mistake isn't ignorance, it's delay. Once the wave hits, survival stops being about choices and starts being about chance. Rooms turn into spinning cages of debris. Visibility vanishes. Orientation becomes impossible. By the time they try to escape, escape no longer exists. This is what makes tsunamis uniquely unforgiving. There is no second warning, no partial failure. The window to act is measured in seconds, not minutes. They had those seconds. They waited. And once the water arrived, the disaster didn't give them another opportunity. Overrun. In San Andreas, starring Dwayne Johnson as rescue pilot Ray Gaines, when the earthquake tears California apart, survival becomes a race. Buildings collapse. Streets split open. The ground itself can't be trusted. So when people reach open areas near the bay, it feels like they've made it out. Space means safety, right? The water suddenly pulls back, far too fast. Boats tilt. The ocean floor is exposed. And in the distance, something impossible rises. A tsunami. There's no time to run. No time to rethink. The open space they chose becomes the most exposed place in the city. And then the wave hits. But the movie shows something even more cruel. For a moment, it feels like they made the right call. They didn't, because the tsunami doesn't just carry water, it carries the city. Then a massive cargo ship drifts into their path, powerless, sideways, blocking their escape. Beneath it, the giant propeller spins like an underwater blade. Cargo ships break loose. Steel containers crash into the ocean like falling buildings. One direct hit would flip the boat instantly. Ray swerves through floating debris, barely missing metal crates slamming down around them. The water they trusted turns into a mechanical death trap. They escaped the buildings. They escaped the wave. But they never escaped the disaster, because in moments like this, movement doesn't guarantee survival. Sometimes it just leads you deeper into the danger. No exit. In Cloverfield, starring Rob Hawkins, above ground, the monster is everywhere. Buildings collapse, streets are unsafe, the skyline burns. So when someone suggests the subway tunnels, it sounds smart. Underground means hidden. Hidden means safe. That logic lasts about 30 seconds. Darkness removes all sense of direction. Panic spreads instantly. Then the creature enters. Above ground, there was space to run. Underground, there is nowhere to go. Movement becomes restricted. Sound echoes. Fear multiplies. Once underground, escape stops being about speed and becomes about luck. One slip, one wrong turn, 1 second too slow. The tunnel becomes a sealed corridor with death approaching from both sides. They escaped the monster above ground and walked straight into a cage. Left behind. In Greenland, starring John and Allison Garrity. For a brief moment, this family is safe. They're selected for evacuation. They have access to a military convoy. They are among the few chosen to survive a world-ending event. Then bureaucracy and emotion collide. Their son's medical condition causes complications. Allison argues. She tries to explain. She tries to negotiate. The convoy leaves without them, and that's it. Within minutes, roads become unusable. Infrastructure collapses. Law and order vanish. Civilization begins to tear itself apart. There's no backup plan, no second convoy, no appeals process. In disaster scenarios, hesitation equals elimination. They weren't denied safety. They stepped out of it. They were safe until they hesitated.